Welcome to the Movie Cheer Podcast, the show for movie fans. I am your host, AP, aka Mr. Movie Cheer, and today on the episode, it will be Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness prediction show. That is right, I will be looking at Doctor Strange 2, and I'll be giving you my top predictions for the movie, top plot predictions. Really, I'm going to be looking at cameos and character appearances, kind of like plot-wise. It's more like, rather than, plot, there is sort of like elements of plot, but really I'm looking at who is going to be coming into this movie, which are going to be the surprise characters we get to see in Doctor Strange 2. So that is going to be today's headline topic for the Movie Cheer pod. I'm really looking forward to it. But before I get to the headline topic of today's show, before I start any show, I go into a segment called Not So Worthy Blockbuster Housekeeping. And this is the part of the show where I kind of ease into things, ease into the rest of the show, discuss what's going on with the channel, with the community, and it's just a general chit-chat before we get to that hot, juicy headline topic. So, not so worthy blockbuster housekeeping for this week. First of all, returning after a bit of a short break, a planned short break, as you all know, if you're a regular watcher of the Movie Cheer pod. Throughout the year now, every 3 months, I'm going to be taking these little 2 to 3 week breaks. Just to sort of re-energize. I've said to a few people just to recharge. I've not felt any type of like a mental strain or mental health issues, nothing like that. It's just me just wanting to take little short creative breaks throughout the year, just to keep recharged and just to make it more fun when coming back to doing the podcast. I think it's good for anyone to take from any hobby, any creative endeavor, just to take little breaks in between, just to recharge things. So that's all it was. And I'll be honest, I do feel fully recharged. I've grown the beard a bit. I'm growing the beard out a bit now, so the beard is growing. It's gonna be time to grow a beard a bit, and that's all I've been doing. I've just had 2 weeks off to grow a beard. That's all I've been doing. But yeah, it's been fun to just to recharge, but also to sort of like work on stuff for the show as well. I mean, I said I was taking a break from things completely. Kind of a bit of a lie, because I've been doing little things, little bits and pieces, which I'll discuss in a few moments' time. But yeah, it was really fun, but I'm equally really glad to be back doing the show. I really enjoy doing this show, really enjoy doing all the videos, and I love being a part of this community, the Movie Cheer Town community. It's awesome. So yeah, short break. I'm back now. The podcast is back to the regular, 1 show every week as usual, and yeah. That's that's the first bit of housekeeping for this week. Another little thing as well. Thursday videos, they will continue as of this coming Thursday. The regular schedule of the Movie J podcast. Thursday videos in general. Saturday is usually the day where the podcast gets released as well. So Thursdays, Saturdays, that is the usual plan, and that's going forward. Same business as usual. What else has been going on in Movie Cheer Town? So there has been a latest blog post. If you're not aware, obviously this is a podcast, a video. If you're watching this on YouTube or you listen to the podcast, there is also a Movie Cheer podcast website, and it is titled moviecheerpodcast.com. And it is, check it out. It's got loads of different blog posts. They are kind of like, it's another string to the Movie Cheer community. I put a few posts in there, a few different blog posts, and a lot of it, like movie reviews, but also looking at different movie topics. And there's been a few different ones over the past few weeks, but the most recent one, there's one new blog post every single week. This week's article was an article I put together titled "The Benefit of Being a Patient Movie Viewer." This article was basically me discussing. I feel like I myself am a patient viewer of movies, and when I say this, I mean like kind of being patient in waiting for new movies to watch. Maybe there's a big blockbuster movie, and you're kind of being like, I'm maybe like, I'll give it 6 months and I'll watch it when it's on TV or when it's on home release. I do feel like I'm like that with with a lot of movies, apart from like the Star Wars and Marvel movies, just because of spoilers. I try and watch them straight away. But in general, I feel like I'm quite a patient viewer, and if I'm kind of like after a certain movie on physical release, I'm willing to wait and be patient, but before buying it. I'm not going to go out and buy it straight away. I'm always quite patient, and this was kind of like the gist of this article. So if you're interested in checking that out, it's I'll link it in the description below as well, so you can check it out. But it's on the moviecheerpodcast.com, moviecheerpodcast.com. Not the has been taken out because apparently it was too wordy. Google gave me a recommendation and said this is too wordy. Just stick to moviecheerpodcast.com. So I listen to Google. So that's the latest blog. As I said, been away for 2 weeks or so, just around 2 week mark and a short break. And I have been working on the show behind the scenes, and you will see the fruits of my labour in today's show, all being well. And basically, I've been this is, I listen to loads of different podcasts, and I really enjoy podcasts that have jingles throughout them. And I think this is just me. I've always enjoyed like listening to just like really silly jingles and stuff like that. So I've kind of I put together a few. I want to have a jingle for every segment on the show eventually. That's the long-term plan. So far, I have worked on 2 jingles for today's show. So I won't say which segments they are in advance. You'll see them if you are watching or you're listening. You'll hear them on either the podcast or the YouTube version. You'll hear them. Or watch them, whatever. But I've put 2 jingles together for the rest of the show, and I'm pretty pleased. They're not spectacular. I'm not gonna pat myself. Well, you know what? I will pat myself on the back. They're okay. They're not too bad. They're not the world's best jingles, though. I will say that in advance. But it was fun to put them together. It was a fun little creative project to work on as well over the past couple of days, just working on them jingles. And there's going to be more. But, if you maybe are someone who makes jingles, or you're a musician, you have music abilities, and you'd be interested in writing some for the show, get in contact. I'm always happy to involve more people in the show creatively, when it comes to music, the visuals, graphics, whatever it may be. Drop me a message on Instagram. That would be awesome, or in the comments if you're interested, if you have any ideas as well. But if you listen to them jingles and let me know what your thoughts are on those jingles once you've heard them on the show. So the jingles are going to be coming up. Let's just get to 2 more little things. Patreon side of thing. The Patreon, you can join for $1 a month. On Patreon, you get bonus content like bonus videos, podcast, audio commentaries, and web comics as well. Basically, this past week, I did a bonus podcast of the Watch Order Task Force. This is a show I've done a couple of episodes of now, where I put movies into the best viewing pleasure. And on this episode, this past week, I tackled the Spider-Man movies, all the different live-action versions, and also the animated Into the Spider-Verse as well. Did a podcast on that. That was really fun to do. Really enjoyed that. Also, I will say, today is a prediction show of Doctor Strange 2. I will also be doing a Movie Cheer Pod Plus episode that will be coming out this coming Monday, and that will be an extended version of today's video, where I'll be doing a deep dive into some more extra predictions for that movie. So I've got a few more predictions that I'm going to get into on that as well. Like I said, if you like the content here, maybe you want to hear a bit more, it's there for you, the extra Patreon content. If you want to become a Patreon, don't feel like you have to. And if you are a Patreon, feel like you can come and go whenever you want to. But yeah, the extra content is there if you want it. But anyway, that is the not so worthy Blockbuster housekeeping section over for today's show. Let's move on to the headline topic. So today's headline topic, Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness. I'm going to be giving you my predictions for this movie. So I've got 4 predictions for this movie today. And this is what I want to say in advance of this. I think, for me, there's a lot of fairly obvious predictions out there, and I've kind of tried to avoid them as much as I can. Not like completely avoiding them. I'm sure there is some really big obvious ones that people have mentioned in blogs or maybe on Reddit posts. But these are just I'm just trying to give my gut instinct, and I'm trying to give you honest, like real ones that I think could genuinely happen. And I really have been like going over this list a few different times over and scratching things off, and looking at it again and thinking maybe this isn't right, maybe this wouldn't happen. I feel like I've got a solid four predictions here now, and I feel like it's one of these where the film could come up and none of these could come to be happening, and they may not happen at all in this movie. But these are ones what I would like to see, and I think would be quite entertaining to see as a viewer of movies, as a Marvel fan. I'm a Marvel fan. I like the MCU movies. So if I got to see these four predictions, I would be really excited, really pleased. I would pop for these predictions for these particular things to happen. So let's get into it. Let's go in for it. Let me give you my predictions. So prediction number one. These are in no particular order as well. Prediction number one. Let's go for it. I've mentioned this probably before, and I think when I've been on other people's podcasts and stuff, on live streams and stuff, I mentioned this. But prediction number one, I would really like to see this, and I think this could happen. A Wolverine variant appears in the movie, but the Wolverine variant is wearing the classic comic book accurate costume, the yellow tights with like the black and blue. The mask. Now, who plays this variant? Now, you could easily use this as a jumping off point where you get a new actor in to play the role of Wolverine. For many years, obviously, we all know Hugh Jackman, well known in that role of Wolverine in the X-Men movies. But now the X-Men property is owned by Disney. They can involve the X-Men characters in there. It's been heavily rumoured that Patrick Stewart is going to be featuring this movie, and he does feature, his voice features, it sounds like him in the trailer anyway. I think that's probably going to happen, but I would really like to see a different version of Wolverine, and I would like to see him played by Hugh Jackman. I'm going to say that right now, and that's my prediction. I think Hugh Jackman, as much as it would be cool to see, we've got to aim and plan for the future. Can't we just see a variant version? Finally see Hugh Jackman putting on the suit, the classic comic book accurate suit, and we just see him. It doesn't even have to be, it can be such a brief moment. It could be like a 10-second, 30-second clip, an interaction with Doctor Strange at some point. And I don't think this is going to be a part where he is a member of the Marvel Illuminati, like the super group of like all like the highly thought of and like the high lord characters of the MCU. I think this is going to be in a different universe. Doctor Strange arrives in some random universe, and we see this new version, this alternate version of Wolverine, because it wouldn't be accurate to what we've seen in the X-Men movies, because if you watch Logan, and obviously you watch all them other X-Men movies, that costume doesn't feature. But this is the best thing about this whole idea of this multiverse, is where you can have just really different versions, but like they can be played by the same actors. And this is where you can have this version, and it would be a fan pop. It'd be for the fans. This would be a moment for fans alike everywhere, and I think a lot of people would really get off their seats for this. And I think if you got another actor in to play Wolverine in this, I just don't think the pop would be as big. Say it was like who's the guy in I think the guy who's been rumoured really heavily is the guy in the Kingsman movies. I can't remember his name. Is it Taron Egerton, is it? Or something like that? Aaron Egerton? I don't know his name. I know he's been rumoured to be, he could be the next Wolverine. And look, he may be good as the next Wolverine. I'm not knocking him. But for a big fan service moment, the guy playing Wolverine has got to be Hugh Jackman. That's, for me, Let me know if you disagree or agree. I think it's got to be Hugh Jackman. I think if he's in them in the yellow tights, and it's done to, they can do costumes really well in the MCU. The MCU does costumes really, really good. They kind of get a lot of when they go for the comic accurate look, they get it pretty good. And if they do the incarnation of them yellow tights with the mask, I think they could pull it off. And it's been teased before. We've seen it teased in the Wolverine movie. It wasn't. It was in like the deleted scenes. They teased the mask, him open the briefcase. He sees the costume. We just want to see it. I want to see it. Us movie fans want to see Hugh Jackman, Wolverine in the tights. That is my first prediction for Doctor Strange 2. Now, let's move on to prediction number 2 for Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness. My second prediction is this. Tobey Maguire to feature in this movie as Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and he will have, again, a very small cameo role within this movie. And I say this because Sam Raimi, the director of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man trilogy of movies, there's a big connection there. He's the director of this Doctor Strange sequel, and I think it would be really a missed opportunity to not feature him there. And I think it'd be a cool little nod to his past in making Marvel movies as well, to say a little, nod the hat to him and say, we acknowledge that you made these Spider-Man movies. Why don't you bring your Spider-Man universe into this new MCU product that you're working on now? And we obviously seen the return of Tobey Maguire in No Way Home. Everyone's seen it now. If you've not seen it, I'm sorry. I do apologise. But, I think Tobey Maguire, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, to have a cameo role in this, I think it would be short and sweet. I think it would be very limited, very much like I'm predicting for the Wolverine cameo. Just a very short cameo appearance. Him interacting with Doctor Strange in some way, shape or form, and that's it. But that would be massive again. Even though we've seen him more recently, I still think it would be a big surprise for a lot of fans. And just to see a few moments of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man again, fans would absolutely love it. I would really enjoy that. Likelihood, I think this is very likely to happen. In my list of 4 predictions today, this is probably one of my top ones. This one, definitely one of my top ones, just because of the link and the connection to Sam Raimi's past in doing the trilogy of Spider-Man movies. So that is prediction number 2. Let's move on to my third prediction of today's show. Prediction number 3 for Doctor Strange 2, in the Multiverse of Madness. That's correct. Right. Prediction number 3 is this. Iron Man arrives. We've seen in the trailers that the Illuminati features. The Illuminati are these super powered group of individuals within the MCU across the multiverse, and they're kind of like the time variant police. They're kind of like the high authority within the multiverse, and they take in Doctor Strange for crimes against the multiverse. And we see the cheers of all the leaders of this group, the Illuminati, and here, I think we will see a variant of Iron Man. So I think we're going to get an Iron Man arrival, and he's going to arrive to sit in one of them chairs, and he's going to be in the Iron Man suit. But who is Iron Man? Who is this variant of Iron Man? Is it Robert Downey Jr. returning as Tony Stark? I don't think so. I do think Tony Stark, played by Robert Downey Jr., was great. And I do think he will return at some point in the future. I even though he passed away, his character, he died, Tony Stark. But I think that character will return, whether it's recast or whether it is Robert Downey Jr. I think it would be a great thing for him to return at some point in the future. I think it would be good because he's such a pivotal character within the MCU. But I think for now it's maybe a bit too early for him to return. So how do you have Iron Man return? You have a variant. You have someone else playing the character. But I think even having Tony Stark played by another character at this moment in time is still a bit fresh. Now, there was heavily, it's been like, this is one of these theories on the internet, and these like speculative rumors going around that like Tom Cruise could be a variant of Tony Stark because Tom Cruise was originally going to play him in like a 90s movie. Sure, that's something that could happen. I think it's a bit too far-fetched. I honestly can't see Tom Cruise appearing in a Marvel movie myself. My prediction would be this. Iron Man arrives, he sits on his chair, and then we hear the voice, and it's maybe a bit distorted because it's like this robot-like voice under the mask. And then the mask comes off, and Iron Man from wherever this universe this Iron Man is from is played by, well, it's not played by, is the alias is Justin Hammer. Justin Hammer from Iron Man 2, played by Sam Rockwell, who was like the rival to Stark Industries. Have Justin Hammer play a version of Iron Man from his universe. So it won't be the Justin Hammer from Iron Man 2. It'll be an alternative universe version of Justin Hammer. But in his universe, somehow he became Iron Man. Whether it was the first Iron Man, whether he took on the mantle when Tony Stark retired or maybe died. But either way, Justin Hammer is Iron Man, and he is a member of the Illuminati. That is my prediction. I think it would be really cool. I really enjoyed Sam Rockwell in Iron Man 2. I'll be honest with you, I didn't mind Iron Man 2. I didn't think it was that bad of a movie. Iron Man 3 is garbage, but Iron Man 2 is bearable. I think it's a decent movie. I know it's got, like, over the years, some people don't like it, some people maybe in between. I thought it was a decent movie. It wasn't the world's best superhero movie, but it was alright. I thought it was a decent watch. And I thought he was very entertaining, Sam Rockwell as Justin Hammer. So to see him return here would be cool. I think it would be a cool moment in the movie. I think it would be one of those as well where as soon as you see the Iron Man suit, you'd be like, oh, wow, it's Robert Downey Jr. And then Justin Hammer turns up. Now, maybe some people would be annoyed by that. I'm not saying they wouldn't be. Maybe some people would be like, no, it should have been Robert Downey Jr. No one else should be playing that role. Or it should have been Tom Cruise. But I think it just throws something that no one would expect. And for me, this is kind of like an element of, not a lot of people would expect Justin Hammer to be appearing in the movie, and especially appearing as a version of Iron Man. So that is my prediction number 3. And I'd really like to see that happen. I think it'd be awesome to see. Let's go to prediction number 4, my final prediction for today's show. So, final prediction is this. I've talked about the Illuminati featuring in Doctor Strange 2. They are going to feature when Doctor Strange is in handcuffs and he's being brought in front of like all these leaders of the Illuminati. I've watched a few different videos online, and it's a lot of people have mentioned that there's a version of Black Panther to feature, and it's like what version will feature it? And maybe this is kind of like one word. It's an obvious one, but it's not so obvious. But I want to say something. I think Michael B. Jordan, he featured as Eric Killmonger in the first Black Panther movie. He was the villain in that. His character died in the end. What if we get a variant version, a different version of Black Panther here, and we see this version of Eric Killmonger? He's still called Eric Killmonger, or maybe he has a slightly different name. Maybe something that doesn't have kill in it. Something different. We just call him Eric. Eric the Black Panther, or something like that. I don't know. Give him some new name. Give him something that's not like what could you have? What's the opposite of kill? Anti-Killmonger. That's what we could call him. Will Anti-Killmonger feature? I think Anti-Killmonger will feature. So we get this new version of Eric Killmonger, a different universe version of him, and in that universe, he is the Black Panther of his given universe. But I think this could tie in to potential future MCU movies, especially Black Panther 2: Wakanda Forever. This could be a platform where maybe it's mentioned to future characters or characters within that movie that in another alternate universe, Eric Killmonger was not a bad guy. He actually was a good guy, and he became the Black Panther. And obviously, Chadwick Boseman sadly passed away a couple of years back now. He will not be returning to the role of Black Panther in that movie because nothing was filmed before his death. I feel like Michael B. Jordan, first of all, I think he's a fantastic actor. I really like him. I think he would be great if they changed his role and made a good version of his character. He would be a great fit to play the Black Panther. And I think it would be good to see, in a sequel then, maybe it's like a quest to find this good version of Eric Killmonger to take the mantle because T'Challa passes away. Or we hear of in another universe, Eric Killmonger was good, and maybe they go searching for an alternative version of Eric Killmonger who is worthy enough to take on the Black Panther mantle. Maybe that could work into future movies, as I said, future MCU movies, more specifically Black Panther 2. But yeah, I think it would be great to see. I think Michael B. Jordan is excellent, and to see him in the Black Panther suit would be really cool to see in Doctor Strange 2. So I think that is going to be, and I think he's going to feature there. I can't see. I'm trying to picture who else it would be if they have a version of Black Panther there. Maybe no version of Black Panther features. Maybe it's something in the trailers that a lot of people. Maybe it's a fake out by Marvel. Maybe they put a version of Black Panther in the visuals of the trailer. Ever so slightly, people maybe think it's Black Panther. Maybe it's a character completely different to what we're all thinking. But my pick would be Michael B. Jordan as Eric Killmonger, and he would play Black Panther in Doctor Strange 2. So they are my predictions for the movie. I just want to say, final sort of thoughts on this movie. Will this be the biggest MCU movie of the year? Will it be the biggest one of the year? I think Love and Thunder is going to be excellent, and I will get into that later on the show. But I think when we're looking at it as characters and big surprises, this is certainly going to be a big movie, and I think it's going to be probably, for me, it's more anticipated just because there's a sense of unknown in this movie. There's a sense of, anything could happen. Anything could happen on paper. They could go into the history of Marvel TV, the history of Marvel movies, pick out random characters and throw them in there. And that's what excites me, and it builds that big sense of intrigue around this movie. So I do think it's going to be one of the biggest movies, whether it be the highest grossing. It's definitely going to be one of the biggest, highest grossing movies of this year. I think it could top Thor, Love and Thunder, just because of the secrecy around it. Maybe it's only slightly, but I think it could top it. But I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait to see Doctor Strange 2. Now let's move on with the rest of the show. It's time for the Movie Variant Showdown segment of the show. Are you ready? Movie Variant Showdown. Each and every week on this segment of the show, I look into a different movie property, whether it be different variants of a movie property, whether it be a movie poster, a movie case, an actual movie, a character, whatever it may be. And I take 2 or 3 or 4, as many different variants as we like, and put them against each other in a sort of like a debate, a battle, if you like. And today on Movie Variant Showdown, I will be discussing the Spider-Man No Way Home 4K cover of the US release and the UK release, the case cover. So basically, both of the covers have the 2 different versions for the UK one and the US one. And I thought, let's have a look at both of these covers today and give you my thoughts on these covers for Movie Variant Showdown. So first of all, let's start off with the US release. So this is the US 4K physical release, and the front cover. is Spider-Man. And for me, it looks like Spider-Man is kind of like he's got his arms like in the earth, below him, and he's sort of like, it looks like he's maybe swinging, or it looks like he's doing like a sort of like this sort of thing. He's like doing the X, like the straight edge society, CM Punk straight edge society, but like below his waist. And it looks like he's in like the mirror dimension here, from what I can see. It's I don't think it's a great cover, honestly. I think it's a pretty poor cover. For me, when I've looked at this movie, doing the Movie Cheer pod, discussing this movie over the months, I've seen different movie posters and stuff for this film, and I've seen some really incredible posters, and this is garbage. It really is garbage. It's like, why? And I will get to the UK release in a second, the UK 4K release, and my comparison there, it's much better, the UK one. I will say this in advance. It just feels like they've just tried to go for something completely different than the UK release, and they've just really, it's been a flop for me. It doesn't spark. I don't look at this and think, let's buy this cover because it looks amazing. And I often buy things, I buy movies because I want to watch the movies, but also sometimes I buy certain movies because I really like looking at the covers as well, like the artwork. And if I was looking at this, I'd probably be put off buying this because it looks really bad. It doesn't look good. It looks like this. You're just looking at it and thinking, what is going on here? It's just like all these buildings, and they're all like 10,000 over these buildings. It's like there's multiple versions in this mirror dimension, but it just looks bad. You could feature some of the characters from that movie in there, like Doctor Strange, and you could feature some of the villains. It's just a missed opportunity for a great cover, and hopefully they'll release a different version. This is at some point a varying version, a variant, if you like, for the US release. But I feel sorry for them, for the 4K fans in America. I think there's a lot of people who would probably be looking at getting the UK release just for the cover alone. But let's move to the UK 4K physical release now. And as I said, much better. I'm pretty sure this is taken from one of the movie posters, because this looks very familiar, this image, or it's very similar to one of the posters. No Way Home, it's got Doctor Strange on there, it's got elements of all the villains, Spider-Man, you've got MJ. It's got like it's a feast of what this movie delivers for me. And I think it's a much better approach to making a movie cover. I think it looks more exciting. It looks, this No Way Home, this big multiverse story, and it kind of like shows that there. It looks like magical, it looks powerful, it looks exciting, whereas the US release just looks dull, unimaginative, and it looks lazy. And for me, the UK 4K case cover wins through for me. I think it's a much better cover for this debate. So that is this movie variant Showdown over and done with. The UK release wins. Now let's move on with the next segment of the show. The next segment of the show is a segment called Movies for the Weekend. Each and every week I give you some movies to watch for the weekend if you're looking for something new to watch or something old to watch. I've got two movies here. First of all, I'm going to say this one, Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. Lion King, the first movie, is just an absolute treat, one of my favourite films of all time. The third one as well, the Hakuna Matata one, is just a hidden gem of a movie. If you've not checked that out, check it out. But Simba's Pride has got some decent songs in it, and I always remember enjoying this as a kid. So Simba's Pride, it just takes place after the story of Lion King, and it's a nice sequel to the movie. Maybe it doesn't live up to the height, to the heights of the first movie, but it's still worth watching if you enjoy the first film. Well worth checking out Simba's Pride. Next one I've got to discuss here is another recommendation for movies for this weekend. It is the Incredible Hulk movie, as we're talking about Doctor Strange, and maybe we see Edward Norton in Doctor Strange 2, The Multiverse of Madness. Incredible Hulk, Edward Norton, this was before, the recasting with Mark Ruffalo. I really enjoyed this movie, and I think Edward Norton was great. I do think Mark Ruffalo is better suited to the MCU, but I do like Edward Norton too. It would have been interesting to see how he would have interacted within the Avengers. Maybe we will see it. Maybe in in the future. You know, anything's possible in the multiverse, but yet another recommendation for this weekend. Now let's move on to the next segment of the show. The Amazon Top 10 is approaching. Prepare yourself. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Amazon Top 10 has arrived. So, the Amazon Top 10. Each week I give you the top 10 physical media releases on Amazon for movies, and this is for 4K, DVD, and Blu-ray releases. Let's go for the top 10 for this week in physical sales, starting with number 10. At number 10, we have the DVD release of The Matrix Resurrections. At number 9, it is Dune, and that is the DVD release of Dune. At number 8, it is the DVD release of Belfast. I've still not watched that. That's one I want to check out. It looks an interesting movie from the trailer. So Belfast, I'm going to have to check that out. Number 7, we have Death on the Nile DVD release. At number 6, it is Spider-Man No Way Home, the 4K. At number 5, we have Sing 2, the DVD release. At number 4, it is Disney's Encanto, the DVD. At number 3, it is the DVD release of No Time to Die, the James Bond movie. At number 2, it is the Blu-ray of Spider-Man No Way Home. And at number 1, it is Spider-Man No Way Home, the DVD release. Now, Amazon Top 10 is being ruled by Spider-Man No Way Home. I think that was going to be the case for a while. It was dominated for quite some time by the James Bond movie. Now it's been taken over by Spider-Man No Way Home. I can honestly see this in a month's time. It's going to be Batman. The Batman is going to be taken over. I think within the next few weeks with pre-orders and stuff like this, the physical release coming, the Batman is definitely going to be in the top 10, and it's going to be top of that list by the end of the next month, I would say. That would be my prediction anyway for the Amazon top 10. But for now, Spider-Man No Way Home still holds the top place in the Amazon top 10 of physical media sales on movie releases. Now let's move on to another segment of the show. The next segment of the show is what's been on the screen. I discuss what I've been watching this week and what's been on the screen this week. So, the trailer release for the new Thor movie, Love and Thunder. This is the 4th Thor movie now. And wow, what a trailer. What an exciting trailer. You had Guns N' Roses, Sweet Child of Mine. What a great song choice to put in here. And I will say, the first 2 Thor movies, they were okay, but Ragnarok changed that character for me, really made me like that character a lot more. And I think we're going to get a lot more. I think Taika Waititi, him directing that movie was great. He was a breath of fresh air for that character. He's returning as the director of this movie, and also he's playing Korg as well, the rock monster guy. I think it's going to be an exciting movie. The trailer just gives us, everything we needed to see, but it didn't tease. It didn't give us too much. It gave us Mighty Thor, played by what's her name, Natalie Portman. We got Thor. We got to see a few different versions of Thor in this, like different suits. We've seen Guardians of the Galaxy in this. We see Peter Quill and the other Guardians as well. And we didn't see the villain in this, so we didn't see Christian Bale's villain. So I'm quite glad they didn't show too much and they didn't show his villain. So it was a really good teaser. This was a teaser trailer. It was like 2 minutes long, but just that song alone and the clips they shown, the footage they shown, it was phenomenal. It really got me excited and pumped for this movie. I'm really looking forward to it now, and I can't wait for it to release. So yeah, I thought it was a brilliant trailer, and I'm looking forward. I can't believe was it July? It's coming out as well. It's so near now to coming out. It's going to be that's going to be an exciting one. I'm looking forward to seeing it at the cinemas. What else have I been watching this week? Well, I will say over the past couple of weeks, I've been watching a few different movies from the movie watch list. And I have watched one that was recommended to me by Jed Halpin in the Movie Cheer Town community. And Jed recommended Dark City, the director's cut. And this was a while ago. Jed recommended this movie to me. And this is a movie from, I think it was in 97 maybe? I think it was 1997 it was released. I think around that time anyway. And I believe it was by the same director of The Crow. Now, this movie, the premise of the movie, basically, you've got this main character called John Murdoch, who wakes up in this hotel room, and basically, he wakes up and he's been suspected of murdering someone, and he doesn't know who he is. He's kind of like he's lost his memory. He's trying to work out who he is and whether he did commit murders. He doesn't know it much, and then you see it's a science fiction movie. This, and you see these events unfold, and basically you see these villains in this movie called the Strangers, where they're kind of like manipulating the city, and they're doing these weird things, and you see John realize he has certain abilities throughout this story as well. And it stars Rufus Sewell, if I'm pronouncing that right. He plays the character of John Murdoch, the main lead character. And also you have William Hurt in there as well, who recently passed. And you have Kiefer Sutherland in there as well. He plays this doctor character in this movie. But it's a really, one I was really looking forward to seeing for a while. And you know what? It lived up to the hype Jed was giving it. He sold it to me, and I really enjoyed it. It was a really good science fiction movie. Kind of don't want to go into too much detail because I'll spoil it, but it's, for me, I'm watching it, and it's kind of like, I said this to Jed, it reminded me of like the Truman Show meets the TV show Fringe. The villains in it were kind of like there was like this I think they're called the Strangers in this movie, the villains. And they all look like Hellraiser come Darth Vader without the mask on. And they reminded me of the Observers in the TV show Fringe a bit. Like the kind of like these evil characters within the movie. And like I said, the changing things, the changing people's memories and stuff. I'm giving too much away, but it's just a really interesting story. But I feel like there was a lot of it. Like there was certain elements where I'm thinking, reminds me a bit like Truman Show. I don't know what it was, but I think maybe it's just like this weird city where things are being, it like Truman Show. Truman is being manipulated. He's being manipulated in this world, and everyone within the city is kind of being manipulated by these people, these strangers. And it was a really good story, and I've heard comparisons to it being like it came out before The Matrix came out, and I've heard people comparing it to The Matrix or saying it influenced The Matrix. I'll be honest with you, I couldn't really see similarities between the two movies. Myself, I couldn't see it. Maybe visually, there's certain elements where you could say, "Oh, that's a bit like The Matrix," a bit. I was watching it, I was thinking, I couldn't really see any like comparisons to The Matrix. I think in their own right, they're both great movies. But this is a hidden gem of a sci-fi movie. This is one I'd never watched before, one I'd never heard about until Jed mentioned it. And a few people have mentioned it since, and it is well worth checking out. If you like science fiction, definitely check out Dark City. I can't comment on the original cut, so I don't know what the original version's like. Jed recommended the director's cut. That's the one I watched, and I really enjoyed it, and I think it's well worth checking out if you like your sci-fi. But that's what's been on the screen this past week, and that is the end of today's show as well. If you enjoyed today's show, please do give it a like if you've been watching it on YouTube, and leave a comment. And if you've been listening to the podcast in your podcast app, please do give a 5-star review if you're listening on Google, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Leave a review, 5-star review. All 5-star reviews will get read out on the show, and they do help the show to grow and the community to grow. So all your reviews help the show, so thank you very much. But yeah, it's been a fun show today, deep diving into the predictions of Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness. So excited for this movie now. It's not long to go till this comes out. It comes out in May. and I am so excited to see it. It's going to be awesome. But let me know what you think of the predictions on today's show. Which of my predictions do you think are more likely to come true? Which of, maybe you don't think any of my predictions will come true. What are your predictions for Doctor Strange 2? Let me know all your thoughts on today's show and all the topics of today's show. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gents. Remember to spread a bit of movie cheer, and as always, I will see you next time.